welcome, and happy, beautiful Monday morning to you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to the second season 2 of B2B Breakfast to Business. I'm Bea Lim, your morning girl and the managing director of Team Asia, and I'm super excited to be back in the B2B stage for our second season. We had I think it was a 3-week break of content, but we're back with super awesome content that we can't wait to share with you guys today. We had our first season. We concluded with 15 episodes. Oh my goodness, that was such a great 3 months of us meeting you guys every Monday morning to be able to dish out food for thought and talk about really important discussions, especially during the pandemic. In just 3 months, ladies and gentlemen, we were able to reach top 3 on Apple's podcast for business and marketing, and that was such a feat. Oh my goodness, we were so excited, we were so stoked, but more importantly, we were so happy about the awesome comments and the great reactions that we've gotten from you guys, and we used these insights, guys, to be able to come up with really thought-provoking, tummy-turning, awesome content that will really get our minds and our hearts on overdrive for the second season of B2B Breakfast to Business every Monday morning here on out. And guys, aside from just looking at what we've been doing since before, what we really wanted to do today would be to get you guys into the moment. That's right. Here at B2B Breakfast to Business, we want you to be in the know, in the now. If the first season we were focused really on, what was happening in the pandemic and how it was going to be in the future reimagined, what we wanted to do for this season is to say yes. Say yes to the now normal and really talk about how to move forward. And what better way to do that than to actually get real people with real stories right here in B2B Breakfast to Business to really get into the groove of things, to really, have our eyes and ears on the ground and look into what is really relevant, impactful, and meaningful that is all about us. And here in our second season, we want to talk about things that are highly relevant and meaningful conversations that matter to you, that matter to me, that matter to our entire community. And to do that, we are once again here with real people and real stories to power through the crazy times that we have today. So guys, we've been talking about COVID-19 and it's not going to stop. Why? Because it's here. We've been challenged by it from the start of 2020. We've been battling it for the past 6 months, and we do know, and as we talked about in our last episode of season 1, that it is going to be an uphill battle. There is still a battle up ahead of us, and we know that it's going to challenge us and allow us to actually transform the world into a future that we are reimagining together. This month, this August, guys, we are celebrating Heroes Day, and we felt what better way to open our second season of B2B than to talk about our heroes, to talk about our frontliners and the survivors of this pandemic. Even though it's hard, we're very thankful for these people who have suited up, who have gone into the fields of battle and said that they are going to say yes to this, that they are going to protect us, and that they are going to really do their jobs so that we may not only save our lives, but protect our environment, protect our future. We would like to thank the amazing and very brave, courageous frontliners, those who have serviced us, those who stayed true to the call of their duties, to the organizations and brands who've helped our communities, and those who have faced silent battles of their own with this crisis. We do recognize that, we are all going through different challenges in our daily lives, and how we're actually coping with COVID-19 or this pandemic varies as well. We know that. So today, opening our second season, are real-life survivors, ladies and gentlemen. Real-life survivors. People who we really look up to. People who have braved these conditions and are willing to share their experiences so that we may be inspired, so that we may be motivated, so that we may celebrate the life that we have and how we can really move forward in this now normal. And you're hearing it here in Breakfast to Business, B2B, this lovely Monday morning. I am very honored, very pleased to be introducing you guys to our special guests for this morning. And Oh my goodness, I can't wait to speak to them. I can't wait for you to hear their stories, their amazing, inspiring stories, and I'm here to introduce them to you. First up, we have a public media relations specialist, and he was actually a former Team Asian, so he is going back in the screen of Team Asia. We have with us today Vernie Regalado. Vernie, how are you?
Hi, Bea. Thank you for also inviting me here to share my story. I'm pretty much fine right now. It's been a tough time, of course, as many of you know. But yeah, we braved the current and we're here now, stronger than ever, and sharing the story so that some people might be inspired or might get some insights on as to how to deal with the kind of experience that I've had.
Awesome. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Vernie. And I love the word that you said or the phrase that you use. We are here stronger than ever. And that is something that I'm going to hold on to and that will definitely inspire us. We also have the executive producer of GMA News with us here this lovely morning. We have Miss Marielle B. Ventura. Hi, Marielle. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. I've been better compared to the past weeks at least. I'm still recovering, but I think I'm almost there.
Yes, and we are cheering you on, Marielle. Happy healing sparkles coming your way from the B2B family as well as our listeners. So, first and foremost, Vernie, Marielle, you guys rock. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today and allowing us to share your story to our listeners, to share your story online. We have a sensitive topic today, we know that, and it takes really brave, courageous individuals to come forward and share personal experiences. And I really want to hug you guys. I know we cannot because of our physical distancing rules, but know that we are cheering you guys on and that we are here for you. And we would like to thank you for giving us this opportunity to share your stories. All right, so let's do a quick pulse check. Right? I want our listeners to get to know you guys better. So I've introduced Vernie as a public and media relations specialist. I've introduced Marielle as an amazing executive producer for GMA News, and I want our listeners to get to know you both first. So, what is your story, guys? What's your brand story? What got you into PR? What got you into media? So, Vernie, let's start with you. What's your PR story, Vernie, and what are you doing now? Go ahead.
I started as a journalist for the Philippine Star. I headed the social media team. It was very small back in 2015. And yeah, we powered through everything. We started doing a lot of really amazing things that got us, the prominence that the Philippine Star is having now on social media. And yeah, we've got amazing things when we did that. And then I transferred to Team Asia as its PR manager for almost a year actually. It was kind of different, of course, for the past 3.5 years that I've had with the media. But I guess what I was armed with was the were insights and the journeys of especially of the print industry succeeding and going through a different time during in 2016 2017. Going digital is what makes it different from the print industry before during that time. So I guess I've had that drive and passion to actually tell the story to different media channels in such a
Yeah.
way that the narrative is being told by me or told by the team of storytellers, and being able to share that to a lot of people who might be inspired or excited or happy, and those kinds of feelings that we want them to feel. And I guess that we've succeeded in that. And then when I finished my journey with Team Asia, I had to take a rest for a little while because, as we all know, my mom was really not in a good condition
Mm-hmm.
during those times. I really had to, go home, go back, and really take care of her. And during that time also, because I felt like I cannot be stagnant, I entered the government.
Mm-hmm.
There was an opportunity in the office of the presidential advisor on the peace process. We were, dealing with a lot of things with different peace tables, those uh, those kinds of things, which I cannot fully disclose. I'm
Of
sorry for
course.
that. But uh, yeah, it was a good time actually to share a story of hope, especially during the times where, when things aren't really doing beautiful, or it's not really that palatable to hear a lot of negative stories day to day. And I'm really happy and inspired that I get to tell these kinds of stories of peace, and surviving really the kinds of trauma, especially for children and women, those who are left by the wars. It's really refreshing, and it really gives you another perspective on how you wanted to tell these kinds of stories, and to relay it to actually to the media partners that you have. Because, as you know, peace story, it's not something that is well covered. It's not something that is uh it's not something that really interests a lot of people, not unless it's bloody. But to share these kinds of stories of hope and survival, it's really good. It's really, parang sabi ko nga, I wake up every day knowing that these kinds of stories are going to be told, and it's going to be seen by a lot of people, and that makes me happy. But when we transition to January, in March, I mean, it's kind of different for all of us. It's when COVID-19 came in, and actually our Secretary Charlie Galvez was named as the chief implementer for the National Task Force. So we were part of that team as well. I am serving as one of the media relations guys for the National Task Force. And yeah, it was a different journey. It was not something, I mean, not none of us really signed on for this.
Yep.
Nobody signed up for this kind of, of pandemic. But here we are, and we were just always willing to take the challenge no matter the cost, because that's the job that we wanted to do in the first place, to really help people. And yeah, it's kind of different. It's kind of, you're parang kang naglalakad in the beach. You don't really know where you are heading,
Yeah.
but you're suddenly, faced with these kinds of hurdles, and you have to overcome these all. And yeah, nobody said it's going to be easy. Until now, it's not easy for any one of us, but I believe that in due time we will get there, and we will be all, we will just face the new normal again. And it's not gonna be the normal that we're accustomed to, but it's something that we look forward to, because it's not always good to be isolated, to be just inside your house. But definitely it's something that will help, curb this virus. But yeah, after all these things, we wanted to go out by practicing what we learned from this pandemic, definitely.
Yes, we come back like what you just to go back to what you said earlier, we come back stronger than ever. And I would like to believe stronger is not just physically, mentally, emotionally, but also with, lessons learned, with ammo to face this quote unquote now normal or the future reimagined. And I love what you shared earlier, Vernie. I think your story has really been very consistent that at the end of the day it's about stories that matter for you, and it's perfect because that is exactly what we're doing today, from the media to being in the agency PR world, and then going into government and facing this pandemic, as one of our frontliners as well. So maraming salamat, Vernie. Of course, we have another frontliner with us, and we have Marielle. And Marielle, I introduced you as an executive producer of GMA News. You are part of the media. You are exposed to the outside world very frequently. I just wanted to do a pulse check. How are you? What's your story? And how did you get into media? What are you doing now? Go ahead.
Okay. So I finished journalism school. And GMA is actually my first job. I've been with GMA for 9 years. So
Wow.
yeah, I've handled several shows, morning shows, primetime shows. I feel like writing about deaths, war, corruption has desensitized me somehow. Um, and writing about COVID made me feel like I know a lot about it, but then it felt really different when I was the one experiencing it. Like, I know that I'm supposed to be no longer contagious after 10 days, but then I wouldn't really want to go out after 10 days. Um, we're going in blind. with
Mhm.
this. Even the doctors, I think so, because they're saying different things. When you consult the health office, they say something else, and then when you talk to your doctor, he says something else. So I think reading enough, writing enough about it was not really enough. Experiencing it, I, d- I wish that I didn't have to experience it to
Of course.
know what to do about it. But I guess that I don't know. I think that in this pandemic, it's a matter of when and not a matter of if you get hit by by the virus.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think at the office, there have been adjustments, lots of adjustments, because we can't really work from home. Not everyone can work from home. So a lot of people, almost 100% of the workforce has been going to work. We don't mingle with the field personnel, so that's basically a shield somehow. But then, because we're friends, so maybe after we see each other outside, I mean, not outside, like we don't go out, but outside of the office, just outside the building. Some So I think we just all have to take extra precaution. That's what we've been
Correct.
doing.
Mhm.
Um, Nobody's really. I don't need to scare anyone, but then nobody's really safe. So yeah.
No, but then it's beautiful that you're also sharing that, Marielle, because it is the reality. And remember what we said also earlier, right? What we want to do is to really get to talk about real things that's happening. We want to be in the know, but we also want to be in the now, and we want to be able to share these things so that people understand how important it is for us to work together, right? To be able to curb this virus, this disease. It's so funny, right? It's not funny but ironic how we are asked to be physically distant from one another, but the only way that we can actually curb the virus and fight this as this battle is as a community, is together. So it's like it brings being together in a whole different level, because we do have to not be together banded literally side by side, but it's about being able to commune with one another, to get together, to find real solutions that will really push us forward. So thank you for sharing that, Marielle, because it is a reality and we need to be able to understand that, to be able to really move forward. And I know Vernie and Marielle, you've already started talking about your experience and how, you know, COVID-19 pandemic across the world was challenging enough, was hard enough, because we're all experiencing it personally, professionally. We've all had to pivot. We've all had to re-strategize our own lives and the way we work, we play, we consume data and the like. We've always said that. But you guys have also experienced, your own challenge, the journey of actually being a survivor of this pandemic. So let's talk about that, right? Aside from the challenges of our profession and the way we've had to pivot, and as you face this different kind of challenge, can you tell us more about your own experience? Like, maybe what we can do is to start first with your first reaction, when you found out you were COVID-19 positive. Let's start with Vernie once again. Go ahead, Vernie.
So it was July 5 when I knew that I was positive. I was tested actually in Cebu City because I was sent along with a team of people from Manila, frontliners from Manila, to Cebu City during the time that the cases were spiking in the area. So we wanted to be there. We needed to be there actually to be able to figure out how to manage these cases. Uh, how do we solve this crisis together? And yeah, I guess it was there where I contracted the disease because it's kind of difficult to know then kasi talaga actually where you are getting the infection of the virus, because you were out there, you were doing your job, meeting people, and you might just not know that one of them is asymptomatic, and nakasalamuha mo na pala, naka-interact mo na pala. So I guess it was there because we were meeting, medical frontliners, mayors of the cities of the nearby areas, and most of the time we were actually exposed. And you know what? It, three of us, 3 out of 7 were actually tested positive in our team. I was in Manila when I received the results. I was the last one actually to receive the results. So I was like, okay, the first time you knew about it, and because you were always out there teaching people how to fight this kind of virus, fight this kind of disease. You feel like, I agree with Marielle, you feel like you know everything, you feel like you know what to do when you are already in that in that moment. But then when those words, when you hear those kinds of words that sorry, you're positive, it just kinds of make you blank eh. Parang, okay, okay, anong nangyayari? Wait lang. You feel it's unbelievable. Number one, because you really practiced everything that's by the book. That's what being told. That's what's being told. You practice social distancing. You always wash your hands. So you always even wear face shields and face masks. But then you got it. So you were like being you're like just puzzled talaga, and you're questioning what went wrong. Like, okay, kailan ba ako hindi nag-face mask? Of course, when you're just eating, right? So parang, okay, sino yung mga naka-interact ko during this time? So it's kind of, your brain goes into a lot of different abysses where you really just become puzzled, and you don't know what's happening. So during that time when one of my colleagues told me that I tested positive, I was like, okay, I don't know what to do. Why me? Actually, that's the first question that came into my mind. Why me? I mean, I did everything. I did make sure that I won't get infected by this virus. But then, eto na siya. Ano nang next na mangyayari? And you just sink in, parang magsisink in lang siya sa'yo afterwards eh. You don't feel like it's true. You don't know what to even do, ganyan. So, but when it finally sunk in to me, of course, I realized that, okay, the first step that I have to do is to isolate. So I have to make sure that this our family home is vacated and it's only me inside the house, just to make extra precaution, ganyan, ganyan. So emotionally, it's kind of different and it's kind of difficult because, as you know, and a lot of people know me, I'm always that jolly, positive person. I always cheer people up. I always smile. But then when you get in that moment, you feel like, okay, I lost this battle and I don't know where to go from here. I can't even like tell everyone. I mean, I can't tell even my close my relatives right away. So I have to wait for a little time to, okay, I have to construct what to tell them because I don't want them to panic, because it's the last thing you wanted to do. Because alam mo yun, it's for me, it's okay that my mental health is suffering during that moment, so long as I'm not making other people, I don't make it difficult to other people, especially my family. Because I don't know, maybe because there's always the stigma, especially now, that when you tested positive, people will just, talk about you. And it's not only about you, it's also about your family eh. Parang kahit na naka-isolate ka, you'll hear a lot of people telling you na parang, okay, wag ka munang dumikit dyan sa family na yan, wag mo muna silang pagbentahan, ganyan-ganyan, or just don't deliver to that house because one of them tested positive. And it's kind of difficult because you have to take it all in, because number one, you are the carrier of the virus in your household. So parang feeling mo, everything that happens in this house is under it is under me. It's all about me. So I'm just so glad that my aunts and my relatives, they really became my strongest support system. In fact, one of my aunts was the first person to tell me that, you know what, I'm so proud of you because you didn't get that virus from just simply lurking around or going elsewhere or just having fun outside. You got that because you were working, because you have to do what you have to do. And it's something that not all people will understand, that's for sure, but it's something that we do know. And that's what matters, is that we know that and we were here to support you. And you know that those kinds of words really just make you feel like, okay, I will get through this battle. I will come out stronger, and I will prove to other people that, this is just a virus that is, parang sabi nga parang, everyone will always has the chance to get this virus. In fact, other people who don't go outside already got the virus. So, I mean, you don't know the mode of transmission anymore. So, I just told myself that I'll be stronger. I'll make myself healthy. I'll take this time as, not as a self isolation, but as a rest, actually, for doing the job that I could when I could. It's just, a note from heaven that tells me that you have to actually understand that your body is not something that, is that can be replaced by a battery in just a second. So
Correct.
we have to
Correct.
rest and recharge. And after that, you have to recreate and do something more meaningful afterwards. So yeah, it's
I love it.
that good.
I love no, thank you so much, Bernie. That's such a beautiful story. I feel you, I hear you. Like when you shared your first reaction, I could feel like your heart also going down a little bit. But staying true to the Bernie Regalado stance and aura, like you picked it up and say, hey, you know what, I am going to battle this. And you actually brought up a very, very important, very important thing that we need to talk about, which is the stigma of being COVID-19 positive, but knowing that this virus has infected so many people that and there are people who don't even know that they have it, but they might actually have it. And I've always been so averse to the term stigma because you know there shouldn't be any blame. There shouldn't be anything negative attached to something that naturally happens, right? And like with your story, you were doing it on the field, like exactly what your aunt said. You were doing something for the nation, and you were practicing all of the things that you could practice, but it still happened. And there shouldn't be stigma. There should be support. Thank you so much, Bernie, for sharing that. I would love to know Marielle's story as well. Marielle, could you take us through your own story and what was your first reaction and how did you push forward? Go ahead.
Okay, so I had fever on July 5, and then the next day I didn't have the fever abated, so I had myself checked for clearance. It was my day off, so I didn't have to rush. When I did the CBC, my WBC was low, and the doctor said na those with low WBCs are usually suspect COVID patients. So we redid the CBC. We did the X-ray. It was clear. I also did a rapid test. I was negative for IgG and IgM. And then the next day, I did the swab test upon the encouragement of a friend who had pneumonia.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got the result, I think I was in denial because when I opened the email, it just said, good day, here are your RT-PCR results. You wouldn't suspect that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
inside they're gonna say that you're positive. So, so I immediately told my family, my parents, and then we planned what we were gonna do. I was already isolated. I haven't been going out of the room since I had the fever. And then I completely isolated myself when we found out. And then I had to tell my workmates. I had to tell the bosses. Some people I had to tell them personally, like my writers. I didn't want them to feel left out because sometimes I think they want to protect your privacy, but
Correct.
then I was very open to them knowing it because I didn't want to harm anyone, and I didn't want anyone at work to feel scared or to feel like they're not being reassured. So
Correct.
I personally told a lot of people about it. The most common question was, how did you get the virus? And that I can, like, nobody really knows. The virus doesn't have an ID. I always go from work to home to work. In the past 14 days before I had the fever, I went out twice and just to do important stuff and just for an hour. Like, I really limited my time outside the house and outside of the office. For some reason, I didn't feel safe when I was at the office. I didn't feel safe when I was at home. But probably because we know so much about it that you won't get you're not supposed to get it from surfaces. You're not usually it's like really direct contact with people who are infected, but then you don't know who are infected because there are
Right.
asymptomatic cases, right? So if I didn't have the fever, I wouldn't know.
Correct.
I think the lesson here really is early detection and paranoia. I mean, it can kill you, but I think it's really good to be paranoid right now. But then do something about it.
Correct.
If you feel like you have fever, have yourself checked. If you have cold, if it's normal for you to have colds, still have yourself checked because it's a symptom. I think no one should be complacent at this point. So someone asked me if I have guilty feelings. At first I didn't feel guilt at all. That was when I felt na, oh shucks, I might have infected someone when I didn't know that I had it. Um, but then I was reassured many times that it's not your fault that you got it. You just can't see, hindi, the usual thing that they say na hindi natin nakikita yung kalaban. So, somehow that reassured me. But sometimes I still feel na, why, how,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
sorry if I infected anyone. But I think um, that with the early detection, with the early isolation, I may have saved some as well.
Correct. No, absolutely, absolutely, Maria. I love what you said that you went in saying the lesson here is, and I love that you said that because it's so true. It's like, we are faced with challenges, and either you look at it just as a challenge and just accept it's a challenge, and say it's challenging, or you accept it as a challenge and then you learn from it. And the minute that you started talking about your experience and your story here, you said, this is what I've learned. And the lesson learned here is early detection and a healthy dose of paranoia. I love what you said. It's like paranoia can, like, really, it's debilitating as well, right? But at the same time, you said that that was something that saved other people, right? Saved other people, and that you were open about it because you didn't want people to not feel reassured. You wanted people to know, you wanted people to understand so that they too could help themselves, right? And protect themselves further and the like. So it's so beautiful that you've shared that, Marielle. I super admire your bravery and your courage. And also, you're sharing that paranoia, may be something that will actually really save another life. And it's something that we all need to do. Like you and Vernie are both in a field where every single day. I don't know, I can't even count how many times you probably say what to do not to get it. Right? And like you guys are in media, you guys are in the government, you guys are in the business of telling people how to take care of themselves. Yet this still happened. And yet we still need to talk about the stigma. We still need to talk about how people are not open about it, or that people like, get overly sensitive about it, when in fact, there is a reality. Like we can't blame someone for getting it, because it is a virus that we cannot see. Like I love that you said walang ID. You, there's no ID there. COVID-19 doesn't have an ID, or you can't see the enemy. But what we can do is to protect ourselves and our loved ones as much as we can. And if we do contract it, we need to be able to be upfront and to soldier on by taking care of ourselves and taking care of our loved ones by early detection, a healthy dose of paranoia, and talking about these experiences. And that's why I'm so proud of the two of you for really coming forward. Speaking about being open, I want to touch on that a little bit more, guys, because you're here, you're sharing your stories, not only because you guys have been in the media or whatnot, but because you are truly wanting to help other people, inspire them, and make them feel like they're not alone. What pushed you guys to be open about it? Like Marielle, you said that you talked about it with your friends. How did you do it? How were you open to your coworkers? And then Vernie, I also know that you've documented your own experience. I want to touch on that a little bit more. Maybe what we can do is to start once again with Vernie. Vernie, what made you want to document it? And yeah, how did you go through the process?
Actually, Bea, to be perfectly honest, I wasn't really keen on telling a lot of people about it. Actually, in fact, when I did a story about me being positive, it was only a few of my close friends who actually are seeing those kinds of stories because I'm just so afraid. Number one, because of the stigma nga of other people. Now, when you test positive or when you become positive of COVID-19, there are already a lot of things associated with that. And it's not only, again, about me, it's also about my family. And I don't want them to, experience the same kind of feeling I'm already feeling right now. Parang ganon. But then I realized, because, a lot of chatter has been around in the neighborhood. Some of your close friends told their close friends who are not even your friends. So parang, okay, so it doesn't make sense. A lot of people are already knowing about it. So might as well just confirm it on my own, on my personal space. So that's when I decided to actually post it on Facebook. But it was actually on the days that am already in on my way to full recovery, actually, because actually my initial plan was, okay, I'll just post it when I got through it already. After day 14, then it's a grand reveal. Okay, hi guys, I tested positive, but here are the things I learned. Then I just wanted to stop that because it's kind of, and this, that writing is also my outlet of letting the emotions out and telling people what I feel, and to just I just can't take it anymore inside me. So I just really decided to write about it and tell other people about it, because at the end of the day, it will just stop, people talking about it behind your back, or not, or you not knowing about it. So okay, I'm confirming it. I have this, and this is what I'm doing. In fact, I also told them that four of my family members were also tested positive, and they were in a quarantine facility, and they're home now. They've actually recovered. They're really good. So I was like, okay, here are the things that okay, I tested positive. Here are the things that I've recently heard and felt. And it's I'm always I think at one point I really blamed myself for what happened, because I mean, it's part of the self pity cycle, where you feel like you're responsible for everything. In fact, when people talk about the disease, I usually, when during especially during my self isolation, I usually shut the topic out, because I feel like when we open that kind of discussion back then, I feel so uncomfortable, because I feel like we're talking about a personal issue for me that I haven't resolved myself. The big problem actually with getting positive is that people don't want to talk about it as much as how we want to talk about it, or how we should be talking about it. It's not about the personality who got the virus. It's really about it's really about how did this person cope with this kind of challenge. It's really about the strength the person has exhibited throughout the entire COVID journey. And it's for me, it's really about the story of having that kind of disease where everyone else was just puzzled if they already got it or not. And I was just lucky that I got tested, even if I'm asymptomatic, because at least I know that I was positive. And it's the kind of conversations that we have, and the kind of sensitivities that we also put in that kind of conversation is really important, because it's not a topic na dapat pagchismisan lang. It's a topic that we have to go and delve deep, because it's not just about the person who got it. It's about how this person got it and how could we all be safe from getting it. So I guess it's something that I really learned from it, and it's something that I truly cherished throughout this journey. And me documenting everything was just, it's just for myself personally, actually, because I wanted to, just see myself on paano ko ba siya na-survive? What was I doing during these 14 days of self-isolation? So I was like, when I was looking at my camera roll, my videos, they were all like a routine stuff every day. You take a bath, you wash your you wash your clothes. I even learned how to wash my own clothes because of this. this challenge. So it's like pretty much a good feat for me. And then, it's pretty much routine, taking all the medicines that you need, especially the vitamins, going out every morning in your veranda to just get some fresh air and the sunlight, ganyan. And personally, it's just about me. But then I realized nga that, this might not be the kind of COVID story that people are looking at, especially because that person didn't even suffer from anything. He doesn't have to be intubated, or he doesn't even have to feel all the symptoms or some of the symptoms. But it's the journey of getting there, especially on the mental health side of it, because most of the time when you're on self isolation, it's when really the evil comes to your mind. And if you entertain that kind of thoughts, you entertain those kinds of negative things that surround your brain, you're just really falling into something dark, and it's not beautiful. And uh, don't get me wrong, I actually was, experienced those kinds of things. There were nights I cannot sleep. There were nights that, I was just wide awake. I had my eyes open and just thinking of the possibilities. What if I didn't agree to go to Cebu City to, do my job? What if I stayed here? What if I didn't go home to my family home? What if I just quarantined in Cebu City? There are a lot of questions that will remain unanswered because it's not something that you have to live again or to,
Understood.
experience again. The fact is, you're here now. It's what happened. What are you gonna do to end all these things, or to actually make things right on your end?
Bravo, Vernie. Bravo. I mean, I would like to just narrow down two of the things that you shared, and I really want to like, if I had a yellow highlighter, Vernie, I would be like highlighting it vigorously because it's something that we really need to talk about. What you said earlier about chismes, right? Like the fear of you being talked about in the dinner table, or a text message of chismes, instead of your story about surviving it, about coping it. Like that's a huge gap. There's a huge gap there, right? Of, someone tested positive, hala, someone tested positive, and then that's it. Versus, you know what, my friend tested positive, and it's amazing that they're documenting it so that we know what to do when it's our turn. Because again, we don't know if we're gonna do it. You guys practice physical distancing. You guys practice every single thing in the playbook that and like what we said, it's unprecedented things. People are going into it blind. Everybody is, right? And there is that gap. People are not talking about the stories of survival just yet. People are not yet talking about it in their dinner tables, when in fact that should be the number one story that they talk about, so that when it happens to you, you know what to do a little bit, right? Of course, we understand, like from your story and Marielle's story, na syempre when you find out, it's a totally different ball game, right? And then the second thing that really resonated with me, Vernie, with what you said is that we do not get to talk about also those folks that undergo or are experiencing COVID-19 as an asymptomatic patient, right? And the struggles that they feel in isolation, the challenges, the how your mental health is so affected by it, being in isolation, receiving also these messages, knowing the chismis crowd, and all of that jazz, is very taxing. When in fact you should be taking care of yourself, like what you said earlier. My job, remember what you said earlier, my job was to take care of myself. My job was to get better, right? And I feel that that's something that I love that we are talking about today. To our listeners, you guys heard it from one of our survivors here, Vernie, that we need to be talking about the stories of survival, because it's not just meant to inspire people, but it's also meant to prepare us to shed light on things that are very important that we need to be helping one another out. So, Vernie, whatever story it is that you were putting out there, I know you're writing about it. I know you're continuing your documentation. We are sending you happy sparkles with it, because really, truly, this is something that we should be talking about and we should be shedding light on. Thank you very much for sharing that, Vernie. Marielle, you're here. You're also a survivor, and you shared earlier that you wanted to be open about it. You wanted to tell your story because you wanted to be able to save someone else's life. Let's talk about that. What made you want to do it, and how did you do it? How was your process of storytelling in order to help in this situation? Go ahead.
Okay. So I wanted them to know from me, directly from me, so that so I did one chismis nga. After knowing that I was positive, other people were also tested. I didn't realize when I tested positive, I didn't realize then na, oo nga, they might talk about me in a bad way. Na parang, oh my God, she's positive, she's sick, gano'n. But then, the stories I was hearing about Nina were, how did she get it? She's really clean, she cleans her place, gano'n. So parang, if she's clean, paano pa tayo who are
Yeah.
not as, I'm not OC, but then who are not as OA with her cleanliness, parang
Yeah.
gano'n. So, I wanted them to know then what I felt, like what I was experiencing, just so they could look out for themselves. Because if you have, like I mentioned earlier, if you have fever, have yourself checked. If you have the colds, have yourself checked. So I wanted to encourage them not to get scared, to have themselves checked. I hate the hospital. I hate getting checked because I don't want to know what's wrong with me. But then I think that at this time, it's something that's necessary. So, and a lot of people were also asking me things. So I just wanted to tell everyone one thing,
Yeah.
the same, almost the same thing. And of course, I think that a lot of them were genuinely concerned.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to tell them that I was okay. That I think that even if you go through this, you'll be okay. You'll be fine. Um, and knowing that people know and they're not shaming for it was kind of reassuring. But then other people who got sick, other people who tested positive, they were they were talked about. So I actually posted about it on my Facebook that can we not talk about someone someone's health if you don't know anything about it? Like
Right.
someone was tested and then apparently people were saying that she's already positive. Like she was tested this morning and she's positive in the afternoon. It was really annoying to know that. And I am in the media industry, and we do information dissemination, and it's just really sad that information was disseminated in a very wrong way, and wrong information was disseminated. We're fighting fake news, right? Fake information, and we have this campaign called think before you click. So I think even personally we have to practice that. Even in private messages we have to practice that. I knew about the chismis about other people because of the people they were talking to told me about it, and they were making tumbong. Kasi they
Yeah.
know that it's wrong. Diba? I hate their stigma. Um, because I think we have to treat this as a normal thing. I mean, I'm sick, but then I'm not outside trying to spread it. I'm being responsible, staying in. So I don't think that there is anything bad you can say about a COVID patient. It's not COVID patient. It's not their fault if they got sick. It's not their fault that they got the virus. So I think it would be better to just be genuine, like
Yeah.
be nice to
Absolutely.
the people who are sick.
No, yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely, Marielle. I can't say absolutely enough because it is something. It is a reality, right? It is a reality, and we go back again to what you've shared so beautifully earlier, that we need to be able to, number one, share information that is correct, information that is accurate, and when we also discuss COVID-19 and whatnot, we need to be taking a look at how we can actually solve the issues, right? Instead of just sharing information and that's it, right? We should be there taking care of the people who are sick, sharing them, encouraging, messages, and making them like fight through the battle and not look at it from, from a situation that is full of stigma. Again, I think that it's really consistent, like with what you and Vernie shared. It's there. Unfortunately, there is a stigma, right? And it's a stigma that we need to say goodbye to, right? Ladies and gentlemen, it is here, it is within us, it is among us. We have two beautiful souls right here who are survivors of this pandemic, sharing their own stories. And these are stories not only of contracting COVID 19 and finding out about it, but it's also a story of survival and saving other people's lives by sharing their own experiences. So that we may be able to, like what Vernie mentioned earlier, move from that gap of not wanting to talk about sensitive topics and actually talking about them, because we need to be able to do that. It's not just about the numbers, but it's about how we're actually going to pull together and survive. So, on that note of survival, guys, I do want to ask you one last question, which is what would be your advice to our lovely listeners who are tuned in this Monday morning, who are experiencing anxiety, having a difficult time during this COVID 19 pandemic, to our listeners who who may be COVID 19 positive, who knows someone who is positive, who is caring for someone who is positive, or who's just really anxious about what the future holds for us. What would be your advice for them? Let's start first with Marielle. Marielle, what would be your advice to our listeners today?
If you know someone who's positive, it's very important that you're there for them. I think I survived. I've been in isolation for 3 weeks. I think I survived being alone here. Because I can talk to my friends, I can talk to my family. Um, it gets sad when the phone doesn't ring. It gets really sad, but then so that's why I sleep or watch something, do something else. But sometimes it's okay when you're alone because you're alone with your thoughts, and then you just have to think about how not how this could how you can stop this from happening to you again. Because even if I'm positive now, eventually when because they say that I would eventually be immune, right? But then eventually it could go away. It's not really there isn't a complete study to it, but
Yeah.
so you just have to be prepared. I've been getting a lot of messages asking like, oh, I'm feeling this and feeling that. What do you think I should do? So I think that because people know about me being sick, they can openly ask me about it. And I'm no doctor, but the best advice that I can give them is have yourself checked because really I think that's what helped me. I
Yeah.
had myself checked, but I didn't have myself checked while I was sick. I just consulted friends because I think that it was manageable. I didn't want to go to the hospital because I wanted to reserve that for people who actually needed it. So having a very strong support system, that's what really helps. So I think you should know. I mean, you know who your true friends are. You know, family will always be there for you. So I think that's really important. So again, if you're sick, have yourself checked. If you're feeling anything, tell someone.
Yeah.
If you're not sure, because sometimes you keep it to yourself. Like, do I have fever? No, it's not. No, I don't have fever. Do I have cold? No, I don't have cold. And then you keep it to yourself. But then if you consult someone, like someone would actually encourage you to do something about it so that
Yeah.
it doesn't get worse. And hopefully the signal will go away because honestly, it never helps. If we know a lot about what's happening, if we know personal experiences of COVID patients, I think that's a really big help for us to understand what they're going through. So I have this friend who showed my stories to his mom, and his mom was like, "Oh, she doesn't seem sick." So it's COVID patients don't always look bad. They don't look unhealthy. I've been live. I was livelier. I think I was livelier last week when I still had the cough. Um, so you shouldn't be scared of people who are sick if
Yeah.
they're doing everything they can to not get you infected. Because I don't think that any COVID patient would want to infect other
Correct.
people, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah, so I think just if you know someone who has it, if you know someone who's sick, encourage them to have themselves.
Awesome. And be there for them, right? Be
Yeah.
part of that support system. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Marielle. Spoken like a true hero. Thank you so much for sharing those words of wisdom. Fernie, how about you? What would be your advice to our listeners?
I agree with Marielle. No, if you feel like there's something going on in your body, especially if you feel like those are the symptoms of COVID-19, have yourself checked definitely, and just don't be afraid to know if you got it, because it's not like a life sentence for you. It's not the end of the road for you if you test positive. It only means that you have to take care of yourself more and even better, and and if sometimes you feel like you don't feel any symptoms, and you have the means din naman, or your city health office or your LGU is already conducting mass testing or targeted testing, have yourself checked as well, because it gives you a peace of mind. I mean, the waiting time for the results might be, the cause of your paranoia or fear, because it happened to me, it definitely happened to Marielle. It causes, it causes your uncertainty and your doubts, but it's just a short time for you to wait and know the result if you are positive or a negative, and that gives you also an idea on how to take care of yourself even better during this time, especially that we're really not sure of what's happening in the world right now. And if you're already positive, be it symptomatic or asymptomatic, be it mild, critical, or asymptomatic, just don't lose hope, and always remember that your self isolation could mean something, not just for yourself but for other people as well. You are not confined in one space for you alone. You are trying to make this thing better by not going out there and interacting with people who might also test positive because you were around. So just think of the self isolation as something that is, a time to rest and a time to fully recover from what you've gotten. And maybe if you're a workaholic and you feel like this is a sentence for you, a 14-day sentence for you, don't think about it at all. I mean, even your bosses, even your the people at work and the people surrounding you understand that you have to, to actually take a rest and take that time off to be able to recover and to be able to, go back stronger than ever. And sometimes, because I also felt this, Bea, when I was, self-isolated, and it's been 21 days when I finally went out of my room. uh, Never think that you are alone in this journey. Never ever think that you're alone, because sometimes you shut the doors and the windows, feeling like the blame is all yours, feeling that you are the only person to ever blame for having that disease, and you feel like people are not supporting you enough, but in fact they are there with just their messages of, getting well, and with just their, with just their sympathies actually of what you've been through, and listening to your stories to them, mean that you are not alone, that you are not walking this path uh blindfolded and just left in the dark. You are always with someone, and you are always surrounded by the good people who understand you, and it will help actually to diminish the chismis around you, to diminish the naysayers that make you feel down. Because if you focus too much on the chismis, which I definitely did in the past, early days of me contracting COVID, when you focus on the negative things, and it takes an effect on your mental health, actually it manifests on your physical health din kasi.
Correct.
Once you think more about the negative things people are talking about, the more that you feel frail, the more that you feel like you can't do it anymore, the more you think of ugly things that will not help in your recovery. So never ever think that you are alone in this journey, and that you are left behind by other people, because it just happens, especially right now where, we don't know anymore where the transmission is coming from. At the end of the day, you'll never know really sino pa yung next, and you never wanted it to happen to anyone in your neighborhood or in your community, especially to your family and to your very very close friends. And yeah, at the end of the day, it's really about having your mind in balance, and being spiritual. Actually, it's I realized when I prayed the first night that I contracted COVID, it was really, I was like telling my God that, you know what, Lord, it was actually the first time in many years that I've been, serious about praying. And I mean, you may believe in God or not, but definitely someone out there is gonna help you to get through all of this. Maybe it's your deceased family member. I always used to think that it's my mom helping me, especially I'm in her room. Being self-isolated in her room really helped me a lot as well, because I feel like, mom, it's really all about you being by my side during these tough days. And the first thing that I would want to do when I get out of here is visit you in the cemetery, because I want to thank you for getting me through this, because you don't have to live through what I've lived through now. And I thank you for that, because you really took care of me. So, when I went out yesterday to do some essential stuff, I was with my dad actually. And the first thing that we did was to actually go to mom, because I feel like I really have to see my mom right now, because it's been, a lot of months since
Yeah.
I've seen her, and you know how close I am to my family, especially to my mom. So it felt like, a release of all the negative vibes, and that's really a start of something new again. Because you know what, whatever you throw at me right now, I've been positive. I've lived through all the negative things right now, so you can't throw any negative things anymore at me. I'll just think of it as a challenge again. And challenges are ought to be won. It's not, the battles are ought to be won. It's not for you to surrender and just, just turn the table down and just, just give up.
I love it, Bernie. Spoken like a true hero as well and survivor. Like what you said, battles are not meant for us to surrender. Battles are meant to be won. And you and Marielle are winning this battle, and you're helping us all win this battle as well with your inspiring story. I mean, guys, my heart is so full because you both have been through so much the past 21 days, the past 3 weeks, and I can't even imagine what you guys have been through. But having you speak so courageously about your stories is our beautiful dose of not only hope, ray of sunshine, and butterflies and rainbows today, but it's also something that will get us through these tough times, knowing that we know people who are as brave and as strong as you guys, really fighting the battle, because we're all gonna win it. We're all gonna win it. Our goal is to win this battle, and we need to talk about these topics to make us all win that battle, right? This is our strategy. Let's talk about the real stories and talk about how we can all help each other, because we will survive this, and this future reimagined is going to have so many of these soldiers who have won the battle ready to fight again for other people as well. Vernie and Marielle, I cannot thank you enough for all the love and all the support that you've given, not only us here at B2B, but everybody else who's listening to our podcast today, because you have shared your story. You have saved another person's life, a lot of people's lives, and that we will continue doing that with your story as well. More power to the both of you. Oh my goodness. We're sending you all of our love and faith that you guys will definitely have amazing things happen to you, because you have done so beautifully for us as well. There you have it, guys. We've got Vernie Regalado and Marielle Ventura, our heroes for today, who have shared their stories of COVID-19 and how they are battling COVID-19 and sharing their stories of survival to save other people as well. So Vernie and Marielle, maraming salamat. All the best and all the love to you both. And to our listeners, Wow, this is probably going to be one of the toughest reality bites or food for thought we're going to be sharing with you guys today. But I feel like we all need to be able to say what it is that we need to say. Ladies and gentlemen, stop with the stigma. Stop with the stigma. It's not going to help you. It's not going to help me. It's not going to help other communities. It's not going to help us survive this. What's going to help us survive this is kindness. What's going to help us survive this is openness. What's going to help us survive this is collaboration, creativity, resourcefulness. People banding together to actually look for solutions to this pandemic. And the solutions may not just be a vaccine or the next quarantine tent or you know, another cure. Right? Solutions come in support systems. Solutions come in encouragement. Solutions come in having difficult conversations like this so other people can learn from our experiences. There's this popular quote, and I'm sure everybody has seen this. It's not just about COVID-19, but it kept on coming back to me, hearing Vernie talk about it, hearing Marielle talk about it. So I'm just going to share it, right? And there's this something that we always see, whether it's on social media or in books or whatever. Guys, be kind. For everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. But here's the thing, guys. I'm going to change it around because we do know the battle. We may not be experiencing it ourselves or other people are experiencing it. But Vernie and Marielle here shared their battle. So now we know. We know COVID-19 is out there. It is enemy number one, right? And we all just need to know that kindness is going to allow us to help other people and encourage them and support them because we are all fighting this battle. We may be either COVID positive, helping people who are very uncertain and anxious about the future. So let's be kind to other people. Let's be kind to ourselves. And guys, don't forget what Vernie and Marielle talked about. Self-care is of utmost importance because that is the number one way we can fight COVID-19. So to our heroes today, Vernie and Marielle, thank you very much. Thank you to their doctors. Thank you to their healthcare providers. Thank you to their family and their friends. Thank you to all of our healthcare workers. Thank you to everybody that's serving in the front lines. It doesn't matter who you are, what brand you are with, what organization, what government agency. We just want to say thank you. Because again, this is a battle we are all fighting. So to everybody out there that's fighting this battle, maraming salamat. That's you, that's me, that's this entire community. Let's all not really hold hands, but let's band together to make this a battle we are not going to lose, just like what Vernie said. So maraming salamat, everybody. Thank you for joining us for Episode 1 of Season 2 because we really wanted real stories with real live people here at B2B Breakfast to Business because we want you to be in the know and in the now. Don't forget to check our social media pages and connect with us. We are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, we are on LinkedIn, and don't forget to visit our website, www.teamasia.com. Once again, good morning, everybody. Happy Monday morning. Let's spread the love. Let's spread the hope. And let's spread kindness this Monday morning and this week. Thank you very much and see you soon. Bye!